Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so here we have Scrafty at level 50. So many of you really like using Scrafty for Great League. It's actually one of the most powerful fighters in the Great League meta. Scrafty is just really good because it has that extra coverage. Even though it is, like, ironically a fighter that's weak to other fighters, it does threaten them very heavily because a lot of those fighters are also weak to Scrafty in a sense with foul play. With its dark and fighting type, Scrafty is this really interesting fighter. That's able to actually do a lot of damage. It deals a lot of damage, it has a lot of interesting resistances, even though it's like I mentioned before, it's a fighter that's actually weak to fighting, which is really ironic. Anyways, with level 50 being released, Scrafty is actually viable at level 50. With the January event going on pretty soon, you can actually get a bunch of XL candy for Scrafty. So, what are we going to do? And how powerful is Scrafty level 50 in Ultra League? And just how good is it overall? So this is going to go over for Scrafty for Ultra League. So, there's actually two users for Scrafty. Ultra League and Ultra Premier. This is going to go for Ultra League. So as you see, the reason why Scrafty for level 50 is really interesting is because it actually maxes out at near 2500, which means you can get a level 51 or level 51. What makes Scrafty really powerful is that it has very high defense. It's very bulky. Even though it punches everything to death, it's very bulky, and that's why it's still able to take a ton of damage even though you are using super effective damage against it. For example, if you've seen other counter users try to kill Scrafty, it still takes quite a lot of punches before you actually take out Scrafty. As you see here, Scrafty is really interesting because of its weaknesses and resistances. Like I mentioned before, it's the only fighter that's weak to other fighters, which is just plain hilarious. Actually, there's probably another one. I think Lucario's the only one, but still, that makes it really funny. Because you are weak to one of your own typings, but you also double resist, or triple resist another typing. So, you don't resist dark, so you double resist dark, but you're weak to fighting. Now, here's the big double whammy against Scrafty in Ultra League. If you see Togekiss or Clefable, run, because it is double weak to Charmers. Charm will absolutely erase Scrafty, so there's no way out for Scrafty, as Scrafty doesn't even have like a nuke move like Gunk Shot or anything like that to counter it. So if you see a Charmer, run. Just like run. However, it is also weak to fighting, like I mentioned, and also flying types because of, like I said, it's a fighter. You do resist, however, Dark, Ghost, Psychic, and Rock. Those are very prevalent typings that are used in either charge moves or fast moves in Ultra League. So that's why Scrafty at level 50 is really interesting. It's actually overall very powerful, and you're going to see just on the rankings in the Matrix just how strong it really is. Alright, so here we have the peeppoke.com rankings, and you have Scrafty. As you see here, I already put it up here, Scrafty XL is very powerful for Ultra League. If you see the comparisons between XL versus the regular one, it shoots up like 108 ranks, and it's actually really, really good for several reasons. As you see, it's actually able to beat the BBML. Well, most of the BBML. So, you beat Giratina, you beat Swampert, you can also beat Melmetal, Lopsigoon, and Lapras. Those are all very popular picks. Now, you do lose against a slew of other Pokemon. You lose against Cresselia, again, because Moonblast sucks. Moonblast will yeet you, so if you don't have Shield, it's going to suck a lot. You also lose against Excavalier, because, like I mentioned, it's weak to other fighters. You lose Articuno, Poliwrath, and Charizard, so it's a very interesting mon. However, it's still rated as, like, one of the most powerful leads in Open Ultra League, which is just really nuts. As you see, it does really well in the lead and the closer. It's actually a pretty decent charger. If you can bait shields with Power Up Punch, it's freaking hilarious, and you have Foul Play. So it has a bait move that lets it ramp up its attack, and you have Foul Play, which threatens a lot of its weaknesses, like Giratina Altered, as well as, per se, like Mewtwo or Cresselia at certain ranges. Scrafty XL at level 50, as you see, is the number 14 lead, which actually is really high. You are able to beat Giratina A. You also, like I mentioned before, you beat pretty much what we mentioned in the overall analysis, because that's what usually the leads reflect, or the overall reflects. In the closer, you're able to beat Gira A more convincingly. As you see, you have a 557 rating. You can beat Obstagoon. You punch Obstagoon to death. You can beat Amok, Lapras, as well as Registeel. Now, you can lose in the closer against Melmetal just because Superpower. Superpower is going to suck. So just keep in mind, even though you are able to beat Melmetal, it can beat you just for the sheer reason that Scrafty is weak to fighting type moves, like I mentioned before. You don't want to use it as a switch. Try to avoid using Scrafty as a switch, just because there's a lot of things that can kill it. If you get a dominant matchup, it's not bad. For example, if you throw Scrafty into Obstagoon, that's okay. But other than that, like, it's... yeah. Other than that, just be very careful with Scrafty XL. However, as you see in 2 positions, it's very powerful. And like I said, you can ramp up attack with Power Punch, or you could throw it with Foul Play. Counter charges very quickly, and it's a very good fighter. It has really good stats, and that's what makes it really interesting for Go Battle League. Now, of course, you want to be careful of Charmers. Just be careful of anything that has Fairy, okay? And you'll be fine. You can be fine. Alright, here's my favorite part of every video. It's speedpoke.com matrix, because we get to see what kills us and what we kill. As always, if you'd like to donate to speedpoke.com, please consider doing so. Now I have Scrafty at level 50 and 51. As you see, a level 50 is 9, 15, 15. So it's not too high from actually like a research one or a hatched or raid one. 10, 15, 15 might actually suffice really well. I'm actually not sure, but if you can get one in the wild, etc., get one traded to you, it's 9, 15, 15. So if you get one, 10, 15, 15 might be like really good. But it's 9, 15, 15 for level 50 and 7, 15, 15 for level 51. So level 51, level 50 is just like basically like a 2 attack difference. Now, I'm going to do both of them just so that we can see if there's any difference between the 50 and 51, as I always do. And then here I have the Ultra League meta to the right. We're going to run the 2 shield, as you see here, and here we go. So you beat both versions of Abomasnow. The 2 shield, the lead is where Scrafty is strongest. So you actually beat Abomasnow. You beat Articuno as well. However, it's probably worth taking a look at this matchup, because I don't know if you have to bait and then you just like foul play it to death. No, you could just straight pup. Scrafty is so powerful, it literally just beats the unholy crap out of Iceberg. You just straight pup it to death. Like, every time it debuffs you and Ice you, you just beat the crap out of it every time. This is hilarious. So you beat down Articuno. I'm assuming you do the same thing with Abomasnow. Now, you lose against a lot of, like, well, remember what I mentioned? Like, run against Charmers. Also, Charizard, Cresselia, Dragonite, and Driplim, you do lose against that. I think you will lose against Cresselia because it does resist your counter. So because it resists counter, and Cresselia is just a tank from hell, it will beat you in the 2s. You beat Empoleon, beat Excavalier, you also beat Ferrothorn. So Excavalier is really good. You beat it in the 2 shield. So beating it with 2 shields is really, really good. I think do you straight pup, or do you have to pup foul play? Pup. Okay. Oh wow. you just pup it down. You like puppies? Well, guess what? You're just gonna... yeah, that's a lot of pupping. That's a lot of pupping. So you just pup down... you'll literally pup down Excavalier with the 2 shield. You can also beat Gengar. That's pretty nuts. You lose against Gatlade, even though I'm guessing it's because you get baited. If you don't fall for the bait, so if you call the Leaf Blade, okay, so you're just straight pupping and pupping and pupping and putting. Don't shield the Leaf Blade, but shield the close combat. So is this a bait dependent matchup? Yeah, so all you have to do is just eat a Leaf Blade. So just eat a Leaf Blade. You can tell someone's trying to eat you to the next dimension with Alpha. So if you call a Leaf Blade, just eat the Leaf Blade, then you can shield everything else. And then I don't think they can get to... can they get to another close combat? No, they can't. So if you call... this is a bait dependent matchup, but you have 2 chances. As long as you don't eat a close combat, because close combat will hurt a lot, you win this matchup. So you can beat Gallade. So this is a bait dependent matchup with Gallade. You beat Gengar. I'm not sure if this is bait dependent too. Can you just go straight foul play? Pup, foul play. What if you pup, foul play? So let's see. If you pup once and then you double foul play, is this a bait dependent matchup? Can you just go... okay, let's see if you could just go straight foul play, which I'm pretty sure you can. Okay, so you could just go straight foul play if you choose to. As you see here, straight foul play does beat... you could straight foul play, and then you'll beat Gengar if you land. Actually, hold on. This thing does foul play. Yes, so that you force the shield. No. Nope, not that. Nope, it won't let. It literally won't let me foul play. Oh, it's because you don't have the energy for foul play. That's right. You block that. You don't even need to block the Shadow Claw. Okay, so this being weird, but you don't need to block the Shadow Punch. You do resist Shadow Punch because of it. So you can. I think you can even eat a Shadow Punch. So don't shield the Shadow Punch. How much does it do? Yeah, you can eat a Shadow Ball if you wanted to. So because you resist Gengar, you can be Gengar. Just hit it with just double foul play. Or like I think you can just straight foul play. Hold on. Actually, I'm doing this in a really painful way. All you have to do is take that out, hit battle, hit update, and then poof. Yeah, you could just go straight foul play. You can literally straight foul play, not shield the Shadow Ball, and you'll still beat it. So you could be Gengar in the 2. You could be Gallade. Gallade's bait dependent, but you be Gengar in the 2s. You could also be Gear A with Shadow Claw. You don't be... This is a really important detail. You beat the Shadow Claw version, which I've seen a lot lately, but you lose against Dragon Breath. So if you see Shadow Claw Guillotine, you can beat it. Just be careful of Dragon Breath, because Dragon Breath does heavy damage, and you don't resist Shadow Claw. I mean, you resist Shadow Claw, but you don't resist Dragon Breath. Same thing with Gear O. The reason why you beat Guillotine Origin is because you do resist those Shadow Claws. So if you see it Dragon Breathing you, switch. And because of its weakness to Psychic types, you need, like, as you see here, because of your weakness to, I mean, not Psychic, to Fighting types, you will get destroyed by Machamp. Machamp is just going to wreck your world. Unfortunately. That's just the way it is. So just be careful of Shadow Champ or other fighters. You do beat Obstagoon though, so it's a plus. You also beat Amok in the 2s and Melmetal. Now Mewtwo, I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, so so Dynamic. So is this bait dependent too? So if you can, because you can eat a Psystrike. So you can eat a Psystrike. So you don't shield this attack, but shield this one. So shield the Dynamic. Yeah, so this is this is a bait. Yeah, it looks like this is bait dependent too. So this is a bait dependent matchup too. You could literally kill Mewtwo just straight pupping it to death. You could straight pup. You could literally straight Mew, or like you can land the foul play because it's weak against it. But as you see here, you can eat a Psystrike. Oh, it does 30 damage. So this is a bait. This is a really... Armor Mewtwo is a very sweaty bait-dependent matchup. Very sweaty bait-dependent matchup. Because you have to not... You can't have a Dynamic Punch hit you. That's basically it. As long as you don't call the Dynamic Punch and you just get hit with Psystrikes, you're okay. You could even eat both Psystrikes if you wanted to. Just don't get hit by Dynamic Punch and you win the Mewtwo matchup. So how about Poliwrath? Poliwrath, I think Poliwrath you can't straight puppet to death. So I think you do lose against Poliwrath convincingly. Yeah, you do. You barely lose this matchup though. As you see here, Poliwrath does not have... Actually, hold on. It's because you eat the Dynamic Punch. What if you don't like... Okay, so what if you do that? As you see a lot of matchups, you can literally just straight pup. Okay, so this is bait dependent as well. As long as you don't eat... Wow. So you can win this matchup, but it's bait dependent. So you can't, as long as you don't get punched in the face, like just ironically, by Poliwrath or by Armor Mewtwo, or like whichever fighting move is, you can actually flip this matchup. So you actually can beat Mewtwo, Poliwrath. So this is really good. You beat a lot of leads. You really do. You beat a lot of the meta, and you force a lot of bait dependent matchups. For example, Poliwrath and Mewtwo. Of course, you're going to beat Registeel. You beat Scizor, you beat Snorlax, you beat Swampert, which is really good. You beat it just straight pupping it to death. You literally, like, the funny part is you literally just, yeah, you're straight... Oh my gosh, Scrafty is a monster. Literally, almost all matchups, you literally just pup everything to death. It's that tanky and it's that powerful. You know what? That's just, it can even eat a whole earthquake and still live. Like, look at this. It literally lives through an earthquake. It's nuts. So... the big thing is you are weak to other fighters, like, for example, you are weak to Machamp, you're also weak to Toxicroak, so be careful. And you do lose against Charmers really hard, and even if you have 2 shields, you won't last very long, because double destructive charm, you die within 6 charms. So if you see one, run. If you get locked into it, it's almost an auto loss. Alright, so we did the 2 shield. Here's the 1 shield. Pop the 1 shield, hit run. So the 2 shield, Scrafty's really strong, as you see here. You're able to pull a lot of matchups, and a lot of them you just pop them down. And in some matchups, like key matchups like Poliwrath and against Gallade, as long as you don't eat the close combat or the Dynamic Punch, you can eat everything else. You actually can take out those mons, which is really nuts. Now, the 1 shield's where it gets dicey. As you see in the 1 shield, you beat Obama Snow, but that's a lot of red. So here's a kind of comfy matchup. So against Driplim in the one shield, you could flip it with a level 51. I'm guessing it's because of the hex damage. As you see here, you can the hex damage. Wow. You literally live with 1 HP in a dream. Wow. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. What if you shield the Shadow Ball but you eat the Icy Wind? So what if you... So they're gonna... Yeah, so this is the one shield. So if you just take all the Icy Winds, shield the Shadow Ball. I'm guessing, so with the level 51, you live with 1 HP in a dream. So there's some bulk point or whatever with Scrafty. So it looks like you're able to win, but barely. I wouldn't be too dependent on this, but it looks like a level 51 can be Driplim, or you could be Driplim in general, as long as it has chip damage, as you see here. You're gonna lose against Dragonite, Cresselia just because Dragonite's oppressive. And basically, the general synopsis, I think it's anything that resists your counter, or that can debuff you, like Articuno in the one shield, and Cresselia just because of Moonblast. Of course, Fairies, you don't stand a chance against Fairies, but you're going to die to Togekiss, and you're going to die to Clefable, so avoid those at all costs. You lose against Escavalier in the one shield, unfortunately, just because it's able to take you out with a charge move, I believe. Empoleon and Ferrothorn beat you. Gallade is able to beat you this time around because I believe... Yeah, this is where Gallade can beat you, because even if they don't, they could double up on close combat and it'll still beat you. So you lose against Gallade in the ones versus the twos, which kind of sucks. You also lose against the Giratina matchup. Being able to flip gear is good. However, you do lose against Dragon Breath, so if it is Dragon Breath again, you still lose, whether it be in the 2 or the 1 shield. You beat Gengar convincingly this time, however, you have to land a Foul Play. Well, it's just pretty okay, because I'm pretty sure you could just go straight Foul Play in this scenario. As you see here, you pup and then you Foul Play. I'm pretty sure you could just go straight Foul Play, though. Yeah, you could just straight Foul Play. So you could be... Wait, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, I believe you could just go straight... Actually, you went in the 0... Yeah, that's the 0 shield. I ooped. There's the 1 shield... Do this. Yeah, Scrafty, you could just go straight Foul Play, as you see here. So you beat Gengar on the 1s. 2 shield, I think it's because you have to shield the Shadow Ball, or you have... Well, no, you can beat Gengar in the 2 shield, too. You could just go straight Foul Play, because you do resist Shadow Punch, you do resist Shadow Ball. However, I think if it does have Sludge Wave, it does have a chance against you, so just be mindful of that. So you're going to lose against Machamp. You're going to lose against Ground Ball. Again, any Charmer is going to destroy you. You're also going to lose against Mewtwo in the 1 shield. That's a worse off rating, as you see here. I'm guessing Mewtwo could just go can just hit you with Dynamic Punches, and it's going to end your life. So just be careful. And it does resist your counters, and our Mewtwo does have a pretty high defense, so it can take you out. So just be mindful of that. Poliwrath, you do lose against Poliwrath because it's able to block... I think it could just block your Power Punch and just straight Dynamic Punch you to death. You do beat Amok, you do beat Obstagoon, which are 2 really good options. You also beat the Steels. You beat Registeel, you also beat Melmetal. You beat Scizor, Snorlax, and you still beat Swampert. So there's not... It's still really good in the 1 shield. You just have to be mindful that you do start to pick up some, like, losing matchups without a way out. And, of course, against any Charmer, you will die. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so I did the 1 shield. Here's the 0 shield. As you see, the 2s are better than the 1s, of course. And this closer, Scrafty's still pretty dang strong in the closer. As you see in the closer, you're able to take out Charizard, but it has to be Fire Spit. If it's Dragon Breath, you die. So just keep that in mind. You're able to beat Bama just because you're able to punch it down. You do lose against Articuno, unfortunately, because it's ice. I think you can get Hurricane. I think you do get Hurricane to death. So Hurricane does take you out. Yeah, Hurricane does take you out. So just be careful. Just be careful. And Articuno still comes out with, like, a lot of HP. So just be careful of Articuno. You're going to lose against Charmers, of course. Cresselia does wipe you out. So does both versions of Dragonite. And you can beat Driplim. I think you can beat Driplim, which is really good because I believe you do lose in the... Like, you can beat it in the 2s, but, like, as you see, straight Foul Play. Wow. Yeah, straight Foul Play does take out Driplim, which is pretty nuts. You're going to take out Empoleon. You will lose against Escavalier just because it can punch you down. I think you lose against Escavalier and you'll still lose against Machamp. Yeah, Machamp still destroys you. You beat all versions of Gira. It looks like Dragon Breath. As long as it's not a Dragon Breath user, you seem to be okay. Because you'll beat Gengar because you Foul Play it. You beat Gira and Gira O because of Shadow Claw. You resist Shadow Claw. You're also able to beat Lapras. You're able to beat Lapras, Melmetal, Mewtwo. You'll lose it. I think the closer is where you lose against Alolan Muck because 2 Sludge Waves takes you out. So you beat it in the 2s and the 1s, but as you see here, 2 sledges will take you out in the closer. So you need to be in even shield scenarios against them, although them up to beat it. You do beat Registeel, Scizor, of course, and Snorlax because they're normal types. You do lose against Poliwrath because basically it eats you with those Dynamic Punches, and you lose against Swampert because I don't think you can block those Hydro Cannons. Of course, you're gonna lose against Charmers. Toxico beats you as well as Venusaur. So it looks like Scrafty's still very good. It's just in some scenarios it does die off. For example, it looks like you need shields to be effective. It looks like shields is when it's best operated. Yeah, shields it's like shields. There are distinct differences between level 51 and level 50. As you see, you have stronger ratings or closer ratings with the level 51. So there is a difference. But against most convincing losing matchups, there's not a huge difference because you're still going to lose. Like against Amok, Poliwrath, etc., you're still going to lose. Now, if we give you shield advantage, what happens? So if you have shield advantage, what happens? Generally, any Pokemon with shield advantage is really, really good. In this case, with Scrafty with shield advantage, you're able to beat everything but Articuno, Clefable, Gramble, Machamp, and Togekiss. So basically some fighters and some Charmers, which is just to be as expected. Which is really good because that means Scrafty isn't too hard to beat. Just the general synopsis if it's a fighter or a Charmer run. The 2-0s, you'll still lose against the Charmers as you see here. It looks like you do lose. Yeah. It looks like in the 2-0s, the only Pokemon you will lose against is Charmers. And it looks like you're able to beat Toxicroak with the level 50, but not the 51. Why? Let's see, foul play. I think the level 51 just doesn't have enough firepower to actually finish you off. That's why you could beat it with I guess the extra attack matters in this matchup. Yeah, so you just need a little, you just need a little bit of chip damage. Or whoever has chip damage on you is going to KO you, basically. Which is basically the Toxicroak matchup. So, you can lose a Toxicroak matchup. And in the 2-1s, I can only imagine that it doesn't get to... So, in the 2-1s, with shield advantage, you lose against Gira. You lose against Gira. Well, okay, so this is weird. So, you're going to lose to Clefable. You're going to lose against Gira A as well. So, you lose against the Charmers. You're going to lose against Shadow Champ. And you lose against Toxicroak. So, general synopsis is... Yeah, so if you... In the 2-1s, you just pick up... I guess the, notable one is just you pretty much pick up the Dragon Breath Gira as a loss, just because Dragon Breath is so oppressive. So, in general, stay away from Dragon Breath, stay away from Charmers, and try to stay away from fighters, especially if they're like Machamp or Toxicroak, and you'll be good. It's kind of good because Scrafty isn't too hard to use. From looking at it, if you see a lot of, matchups, it's just like, okay, it's a ghost type, foul play it to death. Oh, it's there's some specific matchups, but generally, Scrafty isn't super hard to use, which is kind of interesting, and it does really well. So if I had to give level 50 Scrafty a rating, I'd say a 9 out of 10. It's a very interesting mon, just because in a lot of matchups, you could just straight pup it down. I guess from the sheer fact that you could straight power punch a lot of matchups down, which is pretty nuts, especially in the 2-shield. And it's not, like I mentioned, it's not super hard to use in the sense that you foul play what you're weak against, and you can manipulate with power punch. So you basically just literally lay it the smackdown against anything you face, which is just nuts. As you see, you beat 82% of matchups in the 2 shields. That's Scrafty's best position. In the 1 shield, it's really good. You have to be aware for Charmers. That's the reason it's not a 10 out of 10. Charmers will absolutely annihilate you, so you need to stay away from Charmers. And you do lose against other fighters like Machamp. Machamp, Toxicroak do give you a really hard time, so I would avoid those at all costs, as well as Dragon Breath users. Even though you're able to beat some Dragon Breath users in certain scenarios, I just wouldn't risk it. Just if you see Dragon Breath, just be like, okay, I need to get out of here. So, Scrafty is very powerful. Like I said, a lot of matches you will power punch. There are very specific matchups where you will have to eat a move and then you shield what you're weak against. But other than that, Scrafty is actually very, very powerful. With its tanky with its tankiness, it's very, very strong in this cup. I mean, yeah, in pretty much open ultra, it's still really strong. So, if you like it and you do want to get it, if you put it in the lead and you win the lead, or if you have a neutral lead, you have a lot of play with Scrafty. And like I said, those power punch, nothing feels worse. Well, nothing really feels worse. I think in many scenarios when you shield a power punch. Power punch is baity, but even then, in a lot of scenarios, you can just straight power punch, like I mentioned. So, with that ability and just how Scrafty is able to just beat down a lot of Pokemon, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Of course, its weaknesses are that it's weak to other fighters and Charmers, and that Scrafty does, like, and that it's not difficult to play, but, like, you need a little bit of knowing what you're doing, especially against things like Poliwrath and Mewtwo, or Armored Mewtwo. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and yes, I will see you guys on the next video.